We've been keeping an eye on dollarization's rise to prominence, but the sanctions against Russia in 2022 really accelerated its rise to prominence. Regardless, the topic has become extremely important due to the trade war and the actions of other countries. It's no longer just about the BRICS. Here at the group, we're going to deal with the impending big shift in the banking system. Famous figures like Warren Buffett have recently issued strong warnings about this, so if this is your first video on the channel, I hope you'll decide to join by the end. Otherwise, let's get right into it. Anyway, let's talk about this. Some famous people, like JP Morgan, have been discussing de-dollarization and wondering if the US dollar is losing its power. Others have wondered if the idea of getting rid of the dollar has been exaggerated. I'm sure these people are just discussing important global events, and U.S. matters matter. 1,000. Many people make it sound like the dollar's demise is imminent by claiming it is useless and dead, but the point is that we know this won't happen overnight and hasn't been happening either. It has been going on for a while, but once 2008 came around, it really took off. It really picked up speed after 2022. If you recall, the BRICS countries started buying a ton of gold in 2010. That trend continued all the way through 2010 to about 20. I don't even know what I'd say about it right now, but it's still going strong. What more, it has accelerated and turned. There has been a relatively rapid change in the value of gold, but the US dollar and the quick-based system are still facing significant resistance. This resistance is intensifying due to major events such as the ongoing tariff talks, sanctions, and trade war. 1 year's dollar. I've already mentioned that this isn't new, so it shouldn't come as a surprise. However, while these events have accelerated the change, it is still happening slowly. The most important thing is that you understand that these changes are beginning, but they are happening slowly. It seems like 2025 will be the year when they happen much more frequently. I think it's crystal clear that despite all the talk about stablecoins in the US, the real players are advocating for a multi-poly system where different currencies coexist. They want to wean themselves off the dollar and limit their reliance on SWIFT. And it appears like this is rapidly evolving. In each nation will have its own currency, which is great because everyone has their own vision for how this system should be structured. I've already discussed the technical aspects of this, and XRP will serve as a bridge between all of these currencies in the middle. CBDCs, safe coins, and currencies backed by gold are all essentially the same thing. We've already covered this. But there will also be a mix of currencies backed by other assets, such as CBCs or gold itself. XRP or another decentralized currency will serve as a bridge between all of these coins. The specifics of how this will be structured remain a mystery to us, while we find the idea appealing on paper. It appears that the BRICS countries are now catching up to the US, even in terms of GDP growth. This data is from October of last year, and BRICS Plus currently accounts for 36.7% of global GDP in purchasing power parity terms, 23.3% of global commerce in products, and 45.2% of global population. As this BRICS Plus faces off against the G7's expanding position in the world, it's fascinating to observe how things have changed since the G7 or even the G20 trading products. Since then, a lot has happened, which is why I say it burnt slowly. For example, between 2000 and 2023, a total domination went from 10.7% to 23.3%, a 12.6 percentage point increase. This is quite intriguing when we consider relating to it. Consider the G7 in comparison to, example, BRICS. Furthermore, the G7 is beginning to lose its stronghold. Should you be concerned about this at the moment? The answer is no, as I mentioned before. It is not important. Nevertheless, it does show us that the signs are there and that a change is occurring. It is already happening. We also take a look at the current situation as a result of the trade war. Global central banks are dispersing their funds. It's worth noting that the proportion of U.S. government debt held by foreigners has fallen to 23%, the lowest level in 22 years. To put it another way, this is an 11-point decline from 9 years ago. Simultaneously, the proportion of global gold held by investors has remained relatively unchanged. Savings in foreign currency have reached 18%, reaching a level not seen in 26 years. The share has increased by 8% since 2015. China has been a major buyer of gold recently. The country's gold holdings, which account for a significant portion of its overall foreign reserves, have increased by 7.1% since the beginning of 2023, doubling its value. It's not only about gold. Everyone wants it. Regarding gold, when we consider this, we know it is true because BlackRock informed us on April 27 that China may redirect its focus from the U.S. Treasury to Bitcoin and gold. Let me get this straight. It's not just about gold. It's also about Bitcoin, which is a cryptocurrency. It's about stablecoin projects. And when Japan starts to flip, things get really bad. Just in case you were wondering, Japan has a significant amount of U.S. bonds on hand. Well, get this. On May 1st, just around that time, things started to change in the system. That was just 48 hours after Warren Buffett suggested that the U.S. Treasury stocks could be used as a bargaining chip in trade talks. So yeah, it's official. No need to act surprised. I think it's a good idea to own a variety of currencies, not just the US dollar. When he says cryptocurrencies, he means more than just fiat money. We're also thinking about other options, like gold as money. Crypto is the main focus here, but there's a major hint that suggests something good is coming. We can see that we have a good grasp of his main points here. He explicitly stated that events in the U.S. could cause us to desire a diverse portfolio of currencies. I believe Warren Buffett is observing a shift in the U.S. bond market, and when we consider that, our minds immediately move to gold. However, we are not done considering steadycoins, as we can observe that Tether and similar organizations are purchasing a significant amount of U.S. treasuries. Now, I'm not suggesting that you invest in stablecoins. I can almost feel the worst coming to terms with fiat currencies and all that jazz. The only times it may go wrong are during a trade war or pandemic around 2020. Looking back, I can see how wise it was to stock up on valuables beyond gold and crypto, but heed the words of the major players during these crucial periods. They will not publicly proclaim, yeah, you should invest in this. This is something you should buy and hold this. The importance of investing in things like crypto is something we already know, and they let you know a little bit more about it. Invest in precious metals and get out of given the current inflationary climate, it would be unwise to hold on to dollars as they continue to lose value. Additionally, we are already aware of the current state of the trade war, so why not explore